A teenager misses a bus. That is it. That is the whole mistake. He gets on the wrong bus, sits down. A stranger gives him a gift. And that moment, that single accidental moment, helps end one of the most dangerous standoffs in modern history. But this story doesn't start in 1971. It starts in 1880, at a dinner party, with a champagne cork. Did you know that ping pong and table tennis are actually different things? Ping pong is a registered trademark. You cannot use that name officially without permission. Table tennis is the Olympic sport. Did you know that table tennis stopped the Cold War? Not diplomats, not politicians. A small white ball and a teenager who got on the wrong bus. And did you know that the international rules of table tennis were officially changed, specifically to stop China from winning? China kept winning anyway. 3 facts, 1 sport, and a history almost nobody knows. If you enjoy stories like this, subscribe to Custom Stories in English. A new story is waiting for you every day. Now, let the story begin. London, 1880. The British Empire is at its peak. The wealthy are extremely wealthy, and the wealthy are extremely bored. They have lawn tennis, a proper outdoor sport with white clothing and serious equipment. But England is England. It rains constantly, and you cannot play lawn tennis in the rain. So someone improvised. A champagne cork as a ball, a cigar box lid as a bat, a row of books stretched across the dining room table as a net. They started hitting the cork back and forth. That is how it started, at a dinner party, with rubbish from the table. The sound it made, that light, hollow clicking, gave it its first name, gossamer, then whiff-waff, then ping-pong. In 1901, a British toy company trademarked the name and started selling sets in elegant boxes. A parlor game for civilized people on rainy afternoons. Nobody took it seriously. But here is the thing about simple games that are easy to learn and impossible to master. People cannot stop playing them. Within years, it had spread from English living rooms to Europe, then Asia, then America, then everywhere. The joke had gotten completely out of hand. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine this. A table, bright lights, silence in the arena. 2 players face each other. The ball is served. What follows happens so fast that most people watching cannot follow it with their eyes. The ball travels at over 100 kilometers per hour. It bounces, it spins, it curves in directions that seem to contradict physics. The player on the other side has approximately 0.3 seconds to read what is happening, where the spin is going, how the ball will bounce, what the opponent is about to do next, and then respond. Not think, respond. Scientists who study human reaction time use table tennis players as their primary subjects, because table tennis players have among the fastest reflexes of any athlete on Earth. Faster than boxers, faster than Formula One drivers, faster than almost anyone. This is not a slow, gentle sport played by people who cannot run. This is one of the most physically and mentally demanding sports in the world. Hidden inside a game that looks, from the outside, almost casual. By the 1920s and 1930s, Europe had figured this out. Competitive table tennis was serious. Hungary, Czechoslovakia, England. The World Championships began in 1926. 9 countries, 100 players, enormous crowds. Europe dominated completely. And then, a country on the other side of the world started watching.
taking notes, building something.
1949, China. The Communist Party has just taken power. The country is devastated. Decades of war, foreign occupation, poverty. Hundreds of millions of people exhausted and searching for something to believe in. The government understood one thing clearly. Sport is not just sport. Sport is a message. They looked at every Olympic discipline: athletics, expensive facilities. Swimming requires pools. Football requires years of infrastructure. Table tennis required almost nothing. A flat surface, a net, a ball the size of a walnut. In a country rebuilding from zero, this was the answer. But China did not simply start playing table tennis. They built a machine. Children were identified at age 5 and 6, not by their parents, not by accident, by government scouts visiting schools across the country. If a child showed unusual reflexes, unusual focus, unusual coordination, they were selected. Training began immediately, every day, hours every day. Not for fun, for excellence. Coaches were not just coaches, they were analysts. They filmed every match, every point, every mistake. They studied opponents for months before competing against them. They developed techniques that no other country had seen, new ways of spinning the ball, new footwork patterns, new serve variations so complex that opponents needed weeks just to understand what was happening. One training philosophy spread through the entire Chinese system. We do not practice until we get it right. We practice until we cannot get it wrong. In 1959, a Chinese player named Rong Guotuan won the World Championship, the first World Championship China had ever won in any sport. The country went silent, then erupted. Rong Guotuan became a national hero overnight. His face everywhere. His story in every newspaper. And the government's message was simple. This is what China can do. They never stopped. Since table tennis became an Olympic sport in 1988, China has won 32 of the possible 37 gold medals. The rest of the world, combined, has won 5. April 1971. Nagoya, Japan. The World Table Tennis Championships. The Cold War is at its most dangerous. America and China have had no official contact for over 20 years. No diplomats, no trade, no communication of any kind. Two nuclear powers, completely silent toward each other. Glenn Cowan is 19 years old. He plays for the American team. He has long hair. He is wearing a t-shirt with a peace symbol on it. He misses the American team bus after practice. The only bus available is the Chinese team bus. He gets on. The Chinese players stare at him in absolute silence. This is 1971. An American on their bus is not supposed to happen. Nobody moves. Nobody speaks. Then, Zhuang Zedong walks down the aisle. Zhuang Zedong is one of the greatest table tennis players who has ever lived. 3-time world champion, a national hero in China. He sits down next to Glenn Cowan. He reaches into his bag and pulls out a gift, a silkscreen portrait of a mountain. He hands it to the American teenager. Glenn Cowan does not have a gift. He is 19. He did not expect to need one today. He gives Zhuang Zedong his t-shirt. A photographer captures the moment. The image travels around the world within hours. 3 days later, the Chinese government invites the entire American table tennis team to visit China. It is the first official contact between the two countries in 22 years. The visit leads to secret diplomatic meetings, which lead to Henry Kissinger flying secretly to Beijing, which lead to Richard Nixon visiting China in 1972, one of the most significant moments of the entire Cold War. All of it traced back to one moment on one bus. History has a name for it: ping-pong diplomacy. A sport invented as a joke helped prevent a war. By the 1990s, the rest of the world had a problem. China was so dominant that international table tennis was becoming unwatchable. Sponsors losing interest, television audiences disappearing. A competition where the result is decided before it starts is not a competition. It is a ceremony. The International Table Tennis Federation made a decision: change the rules. In 2000, they increased the ball from 38 millimeters to 40 millimeters. 2 millimeters slower through the air. 2 millimeters more time to react. China kept winning. In 2015, they changed the material, celluloid to plastic. The ball bounced differently, moved differently. Players had to relearn techniques built over decades. Japan won. Germany won. Sweden won. China still won most of the time. But here is what this really tells us. The most powerful sporting organization in the world rewrote its own rules twice, specifically to stop one country. It did not work. That is not just a sports story. That is a story about what happens when one group of people commits to something so completely, so obsessively, so systematically, so relentlessly, that the rules of the game literally cannot contain them. And that, my friends, is the story of table tennis. From a champagne cork to Olympic gold, from a Victorian parlor toy to the most played indoor sport on Earth, from a teenager who missed his bus to a diplomatic breakthrough that helped end the Cold War. Small things travel further than anyone expects. A ball that fits in the palm of your hand crossed oceans, stopped wars, and became the obsession of an entire civilization. And somewhere, right now, in a training hall in Shanghai, in a school gym in Berlin, in a basement in Sao Paulo, someone is picking up a small paddle for the first time, learning something that started at a dinner party in England one rainy evening in 1880. The game never stopped. Leave a comment below. Did you know about ping-pong diplomacy before today? What surprised you most? Share this with someone who is also learning English. And if you enjoyed this journey, like this video and subscribe to Custom Stories in English. It helps the channel grow and brings more stories to more people. It was a pleasure to be with you today. See you in the next one.